We'll call the regular governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board to order at 7 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, so at this time, please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones. For those of you that are here that would like to address the board on a specific agenda item and/or during public comment, please fill out a blue comment card in the back so that we know when to call upon you. I believe that there are students from Hanson Elementary School here to give a presentation. Ms. Pacheco, if you or one of your students could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And you have a presentation?
I do. Good evening, President Clements, members of the board, and Dr. Nicholas. Thank you for having Hanson here tonight. I have 3 groups of students who want to share with you. 2 about the community service that they've been working on, and 1 who have been to a competition that you graciously sent them on to represent Lammersville with the HOSA team. So they want to present how they did, and thank you for your sponsorship and support, as always. So I'm going to turn it over to them. They're very excited to have been in the community again, interacting with others, and first group is going to be National Junior Honor Society, Hassini, Kostab, Jaskaran, and Ahana.
Hello. This is our presentation of Hanson's chapter of National Junior Honor Society. Our school, Hanson Elementary, is part of the Mountain House community, and we have done many projects and services for our community and school. This presentation was made by Hassini, Ahana, Kaustub, and Jaskaran. Our advisor is Ms. Tassendorf.
Getting accepted into NJHS takes work, as it requires core values that students must have in order to get accepted as well as participate. These core values are academic success, service, leadership, character, and citizenship. A group like NJHS helps middle school students become a well-rounded leader in their school, community, and beyond.
When applying for NJHS, certain qualifications are required. Students go through a meticulous application process. Some of the qualifications include a list of service they have done before, an essay stating how they exhibit the NJHS characteristics, teacher recommendations, and showing excellent scholarship.
NJHS students are to participate in service projects, and our first one for this school year was Back to School Supply Drive. The NJHS members enlisted Hanson Elementary to donate school supplies such as pencils, pens, erasers, notebooks, folders, glue, highlighters, and scissors. These items were put into donated backpacks. Altogether, we were able to donate 33 backpacks that were donated to McHenry House Tracy family. They were extremely grateful to be given these donations that will be going to students who are in need. Another service project National Junior Honor Society participated in was a sock drive, or as we like to call it, Socktober. Last year, our school collected 1,500 pairs of socks. Donations were given to Tracy Interfaith Ministries, in which they distributed them to the homeless. Did you know that socks are one of the biggest items that the homeless need? Socks are often a forgettable item, but a pair of socks can drastically make a difference in someone's life. NJHS is currently running a sock drive, and we are excited to provide this much-needed item to the homeless.
Our school has participated in donating canned food. We donated these cans of food to Brighter Christmas. We've donated more than 50 cases of food last year. We will continue to do so again this year. Brighter Christmas has been donating books, toys, and food since 1976.
As part of NJHS, we must complete 10 hours of community service or individual service projects. This can range from volunteering in classrooms to helping teachers, assisting in churches or temples, helping in PTA events like Trunk or Treat, and assisting with various duties to help brighter Christmas. Last year, we even had one of our members volunteer to teach 1st through 3rd grade art.
Many NJHS members participate in helping keeping Hanson Elementary's campus a beautiful campus by picking up garbage. An unclean environment is not only a distraction to students and staff, but this can also impact their health by allowing the spread of germs and diseases. This chaotic environment can add to the stress of learning. By keeping the campus clean, we are helping to create a positive learning environment for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next group of students are from Mrs. Alvarez's class. They're 3rd graders. They hosted a donation drive for the animal rescue of Tracy. As part of their ELA and social studies units, they were learning about government participation and civic engagement. So we have Kamya, Dia, Sanjana, and Varesh to tell you about that.
Hi, my name is Kimaya, and I'm going to be talking about what we did in ELA. In ELA, we learned about government, how we can help, the people who helped us, and our voting rights, and why it is important to vote. The reason it is important to vote is because if you pick the right candidate, he or she can make the community a better place.
Hello, my name is Varish, and today I will be talking about social studies that we have learned so far. In social studies, we learned about American heroes and voting. We wanted to be good citizens of Mountain House and help our community.
I'm Dia, and then I'm going to be talking about the animal drive. We decided to have a donation drive for the animals rescue of Tracy. We collected toys, food, litter, and cleaning supplies for them.
Hi, my name is Sanjana, and I'm going to talk about what we did in the Animal Rescue Center. We got to visit the animal rescue of Tracy. We got to pet kittens and puppies. We learned how they help animals.
Is there any questions for these little ones?
Any questions from the board for either group?
I just want to thank all the students for coming up and talking to us tonight. I'm excited about all the different types of volunteer activity and groups, a variety of groups that your school is supporting. So thanks, students. Y'all did a great job.
I just want to add to what Trustee Bully said. I was just thinking to myself, NJSF is from the middle school, am I correct? So great job. I was thinking, okay, high schoolers do volunteer service, but here I'm seeing middle schoolers already involved in the volunteer service. And then I'm seeing 3rd graders who are doing volunteer service. So kudos to all the kids, every grade who are serving. You're all leaders. Great job. Thank you.
And I would say there's a ton of people in the community, and even some people on the board at various times that are terrified of public speaking. And the little 3rd graders come up and they did an incredible job. Great job.
Ditto to everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our second group is our HOSA team. So we have our Tigers who put LUSD on the map is this title. They went to Nashville, Tennessee this summer to compete at the International Leadership Competition, and they had a great time. They did very well, and Deval, Shrushti, and Samhita are here to share more about that trip.
Hello, my name is Shrushti Mahadesha.
My name is Shamhita Saravanan.
And my name is Deval Kandawal.
And we are here to represent Hanson's Middle School HOSA team. So as a team, we have accomplished 2 things. Second place in HOSA ILC, which is the State Leadership Conference, and first place in ILC, which is the International Leadership Conference.
A clarifying question. So you took second at state and first at national.
Yes.
Wow, fantastic.
That's awesome.
Our event is Dynamic Decisions. Now this event is, well, quite literally a dynamic event. It has 2 parts to it, a written test and an oral presentation. The written test is based on books. The oral presentation is 1 problem given to us at the site, 20 minutes to prepare, and 5 minutes to present. This event focuses on teamwork, decision-making, and speaking skills.
So, teamwork. Teamwork plays a big part in this event, and in the beginning, our team was quite a mess. We had a few disagreements and we were really distracted. But over time, we were able to work together and overcome it, and now we were able to achieve these things.
So the first event we participated with was, as I said, SLC, which is the State Leadership Conference. So in SLC, this was a very new experience for us, as it was the first full event experience we got. So our event was not as popular, so we came over many hardships on trying to figure out what exactly we should be doing. And after we finished our event, we were really nervous, we were scared, but when we learned we got second place, we were so excited, and we were just thinking about all the things we need to improve on for the next step.
Our ILC event experience. Before ILC, we knew we had to prepare a lot more. But as a team, we were able to overcome a lot of challenges by preparing a lot. After many days of reading, analyzing, and discussing our books, we were able to confidently finish the written part of our exam. Our oral presentation preparation was done through days of practice rounds and team discussions. When we entered the room to start planning our speech, we were all nervous but determined to do well. Finally, when we presented, we were able to confidently say what we wanted to do, and when we walked out, we were nervous yet excited about our performance, and excited to tell Ms. Palmer about what happened.
So I would like to talk about the overall ILC experience. ILC was such a great and wonderful opportunity. We were able to meet so many other students from different states and countries, and it was so exciting to be able to participate in these events and meet these new people. And when we were, the conferences gave us energy, and seeing all these new people inspired us. And especially when we got called up for first place, we were so shocked and excited, and we were just filled with this joy, and we felt like everything we worked towards were and it made up for it.
These are just a few photos of our experience overall, us as a team, and then our entire Hanson team. And yeah, there's a few more.
Thank you so much for sharing tonight. I have just a couple comments. One is that I am very impressed that you were able to come up here and not only talk about your experience, but talk about where your weaknesses were, and that you were able to recognize those and work on building those to be successful. So great job. And I also want to give a shout out to Mrs. Parmar, because without her guidance, without her coaching, without her time, you guys wouldn't be the success you are. So thanks to Mrs. Parmar and any other coaches or parents or volunteers that helped out.
Those were some great pictures that you shared with us. Thank you for sharing. And we are so proud of you. Great job. And thanks for sharing the life lesson, too, about teamwork. Thank you.
I just have one question. Were you so focused in Nashville, or did you have an opportunity to see at least see a few sites, or in Tennessee, wherever you were?
So we weren't able to see a lot. We went to the mall, but we were able to have a really great experience in like the hotel itself, since it was such an amazing place.
And we went to downtown Nashville. It was really cool, a different experience. It's really different from California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a testament to your dedication that you didn't, use your time unwisely and you focused on doing well in the competition, but I'm glad you got to see a few things as well. Thank you for your presentation.
Wait, one minute, one second.
Great job, kids. You make Hanson and all of Mountain House and Lammersville proud. Great job.
I do have a question. So the team that took first in the California, did they go to ILC as well? We actually don't know. Oh, well, they took first, so I don't know why they wouldn't. And I'm sure they thought, well, we've beaten Mountain House before. They got another thing coming. Thank you very much. Great presentation. Great job. We're very proud of you.
And thank you again for all of your support and for allowing the kids to go and have these experiences and travel. And I also wanted to acknowledge Mrs. Parmar for all of her work, for starting our HOSA group, for working with the high school, putting in so many hours, and she's so dedicated to these kids. So I thank her very much. And thank you for allowing us to present tonight.
There are a lot of people here. So to the students from Hanson, if you would like to stay, you're more than welcome. But if you would like to leave, I totally understand. Now's a good time to do that. I'll give you a sorry about that. There's kind of a bit of a traffic jam.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be calm here in a second.
Okay, I think that's about it. So we'll move on to item 2. Roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Benita Daniel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Satya Sulam.
Here.
Thank you. Item 3, student recognition. Staff report?
Yes, this is an annual event for us. We're very proud of this. We have so many perfect score students on the state assessment, the CASP, that we have to break this up into 2 nights. So tonight we're going to be honoring students from Bethany, Hanson, Lammersville, and Cuesta. And we also want to acknowledge Assistant Superintendent Sharp, who has organized this event this evening. So how it's going to work for moms and dads is we're going to have each school come. The principal's going to read from the podium. Students are going to get a medal in the area of their perfect score and a certificate. We're going to have them come through, shake the board's hand, and keep moving over there to Mrs. Bustatil, our Director of Student Services. And then at the end, when all students' names have been called, we're going to move them back to the middle, take a picture, and then back out the door that way, and then we'll bring in the next school. So that is Mrs. Sharp's direction, so I think I've handled that well. She's given me the nod. So if we can have the board members come down in front, we'll begin the ceremony and bring up Mrs. Debbie Ritchie.
All right, in the area of ELA, we have Tanya Malapaka. Another in ELA, we have Carol Morfin. In ELA, we have Shrestha Naminini. In ELA, we have Yavi Podell. Again, in ELA, we have Anushri Sapkal. Again, in ELA, we have Danya Shamsodini. Again, we have in ELA, Sia Sharma. And finally, in ELA, we have Shri Sai Abrahimi Singhi Reddy. We have a couple of friends who aren't here. Vivian Zhang also received a perfect score in ELA. All right, moving on to math, we have Myra Alam. Receiving a perfect score in math but not here is Aya Naha, Natalie Navarro, and Olivia Secchi. Receiving a perfect score in math, we have Jestel Valdez. We have Darius Williams. And Cecilia Zhao. Not here tonight, but receiving a perfect score in ELA and math, we have Sanvi Banerjee.
Okay, we're gonna have all the kids now swing back there in the front. We're gonna take a group photo. Let's switch you because you're shorter than I am. You stand right here. All right. Don't be shy. Just come on over. We got quite a few. You guys, nice job. You have to step in front or we can come over here. Parents, if you want to go with your kids, just head on out here to the door where the weather is nice outside and you stop raining. So enjoy your evening. Great job to your kids. Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Happy to introduce our students from Hanson who got perfect scores on CASP, starting with ELA. Ishika Anup. Sanvi Batula. Sara Chandapalai. Algid Dalip. Sanvi Gia. Snigdha Nanamuthu. Tanvika Karupkula. Mahima Mantri. Axel Marasingi. Kanishka Narishkana. Samanvika Naveen. Safir Rahman. Pratit Vyakula. Sai Yandapali. And our Hanson students who had a perfect score in their math, Davio Cisneros, Mahima Gowda, Davio. Okay. Jayanth Lakshmipathy. Mansi Mandal. Sanjay Rajendran. Varnika Ramgamgari. Siddharth Suda. And we have 2 students who earned perfect scores in both ELA and math. Lakshmi Gokaraju and Anina Thomas.
And again, we're going to have all the kids come back here. We're going to take a Hanson photo. Everyone just come back this way. Don't be shy. Just walking on back to the old guy with the voice. Come on this way. It's all right. There we go.
Are we good?
Yep.
Next up is Cuesta, George Vieira.
Wait till they exit.
From Cuesta, perfect scores in ELA, we have Ariana Baldwin. Adian Barathriaja. Sanja Krishna. Zoe Pedroza. Alexandra Paposui. Jaylene Salangsang. Mohammed Sharif. Shravya Bay Anani. Abhinav Japu. Who are you? And perfect scores for math, Siddharth Krishna. Julianne Luckben. Rita Mohammed. Mayor Mutalyala. Hu Nguyen. Akshita Panguru. Rianch Raghuvanshi. Kayla Rivera. Dwanit Shaw. And for a perfect score in science, Mindy Nguyen. And then we had 3 that received perfect scores in both ELA and math. Shaila Padala. Congratulations, good job. Tony Pamichetti. Good job. And Chris Pamichetti.
Okay. exit out the side door. Thank you so much. Amazing job.
You're coming up. With Team Beam. All right.
Speak to all the district staff.
Last but not least.
And next up, we have Jennifer Duran from Lammersville.
Unfortunately, my one student was not able to make it, but I am very proud to recognize Jason Shrista for his perfect score in math.
Hold up the certificate.
Okay.
I cannot believe my computer didn't go dark while we were down there.
Ready?
Continuing on, item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item 5, committee reports. A, District Advisory Committee, trustee Boulay?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee, or DLAC, that's me. The DLAC committee met on October 27th at 6:30. As it was the first DLAC meeting for the school year, the committee reviewed data snapshot for English learners, recognized reclassified students, and reviewed the Local Control Accountability Plan, or LCAP. The next DLAC meeting is scheduled for January 26th at 6:30 here in the district boardroom. Item C, Education Committee, trustee Pombo?
The next Education Committee meeting is November 15th at 6:30 in the Professional Development Center.
Thank you, sir. Item D, Facilities Committee, trustee Olson?
The next Facilities Committee meeting is Thursday, December 8th. There will be no meeting tomorrow. If anybody had that on their calendar, it's been moved to Thursday, December 8th in the boardroom at 6:45 p.m.
Thank you very much. Item E, Policy Committee, trustee Daniel?
None to report.
Thank you. Item F, Safety Committee, trustee Pombo?
Next Safety Committee meeting will be November 9th at 3:45 here in the boardroom.
Thank you. Item G, Wellness Committee, trustee Olson?
Yes, I'd like to allow trustee Danielle to share her notes if she has them. Did you have your notes? I think she said she wanted.
I do.
Okay.
So our Wellness Committee meeting took place for the first time in person at the PDC Center on October 26th. It was a full house, and we talked about transitional age youth mentoring program. And we also talked about new resources which are present in the our website under the student services. And we also, there was a report from every elementary school and the Mountain House High School with regards to the wellness efforts that have been going on, the mental wellness efforts, the Red Ribbon Week, and all the events that were going to be happening for the for that upcoming week. Then we spoke about independent study and the farmers market. So I just want to give a little bit of information about the farmers market. So the farmers market is usually held annually at each of the elementary schools, and staff members sign up to be the farmers, typically 2 staff members per site. And each class visits the farmers market. The farmers provide mini lessons on the health benefits of wide range of fruits and vegetables. So students use the school-themed play money to purchase the items from the farmers market. And that planning is in progress. And this is what I have from our meeting from October 26th. Our next meeting is going to be at PDC on December 21st at 3:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Daniel. Item 6, Governing Board Reports. Student Trustee Selam.
From October 24th to the 28th, MHHS had its Red Ribbon Spirit Week. Everyone dressed out and showed their school spirit. On the 27th, Leadership and Drama hosted our annual Mountain House House of Horrors. And on the 29th, DECA hosted its first annual mini comp, and we started with over 250 students. And after the competition, we're taking close to 140 students to the regional competition in January. And I want to thank every parent, community member, and board member who took time out of their day on Saturday to come judge. And the event wouldn't have been complete without you all, so I thank you for your patience as we navigated through the issues that arose. This was the very first time we did something like this, and the officer team worked really hard to try to solve the problems as they arose, so thank you for your patience and support. And Halloween was Monday. Everyone dressed out, and we had a costume contest during lunch. And shout out to our counseling team. They were handing out hot chocolate to all the students in return for votes for the best staff costume. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. On October 20th, I attended the DARE ceremony at Cordis. I want to congratulate all the 5th graders who completed this program, not just at Cordis, but at the other school sites also. There were a number of DARE ceremonies, and unfortunately I was only able to get to one of them. But gosh, it's a great program, and congratulations to all those 5th graders. On October 21st, I went to the school play at Cuesta. It was Hey Diddle Diddle, Hey Diddle Diddle, and it was a great job. Lots of nursery rhymes with very creative performances. So great job to the cast, the crew, and director. I know it takes hours and hours of time to put a play together, and they did a great job. On October 22nd, I went to the high school play, Peter and the Starcatcher, and again, great job to the producer, to the cast, to the crew, and to everybody who was involved in making that a success. It was really a fun time. On October 25th, I did a site visit at Cordis. Mr. McDonald was a great host, and I enjoyed my time at the school. The highlight, though, of my visit was one of the classrooms. I think it was a 7th grade classroom. I was introduced to one of the teachers who happens to be a Mountain House alumnus, a high school alumnus. So it was great to see the district education come full circle. The student is now the teacher, and I'm excited to see more of that as we grow bigger and bigger. On October 27th, I went to the high school cross-country league championship meet. I want to congratulate The Mountain House High School JV girls, they won the league championship. The Mountain House High School JV boys, they won the league championship. The Mountain House High School varsity girls, they won the league championship. The Mountain House High School varsity boys came so very close to winning the league championship. But so great job to all of those students and to the coaches who really put a lot of work into that team. On October 28th, I went to the high school orchestra concert and the Suzuki Strings play-in, and it was great to see these two groups working together and seeing our high school musicians acting as mentors and role models for our young future Mustangs. And some of those kids were teeny tiny, and they had the cutest little small instruments, so that was very cool. I also this week went to round 1 of the Mountain House High School Girls Tennis Division Championship and attempted to go to round 2. Actually, I did go to round 2, but which was this afternoon. It was on and off with the rain. They didn't finish the entire match, so stay tuned. They're going to finish that on this weekend. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Boulay. Trustee Olson.
On October 20th, I attended the high school water polo games. I was able to watch the boys varsity game and the girls junior varsity game. And it was the last games for some of the levels, and then some of the levels had one more senior night after that. But it was great to see how much progress all the teams made throughout the season. They've worked really hard, and I love watching water polo. I wish they had like more games, like double. I would love to see them all. On October 22nd, I attended the Central Park Diwali celebration, and with trustees Clements, Pombo, and Daniel. And then that evening I saw Peter and the Starcatcher at the high school, and it was a really well done play, especially since it was, basically no real elaborate sets or costume changes. So it was really a lot of acting, and it was excellent. It was amazing. I was enthralled the whole time. On October 26th, I attended the Wellness Committee meeting with Trustee Daniel. On October 28th, I attended the Cuesta Carnival and Trunk or Treat, and the attendance was amazing. There were so many people there, and it was great to see the students out having fun again and doing something really community-oriented. I have to say, we're at the point where we have to clone ourselves if we want to make it to all the events, because there were amazing trunk or treats happening at all the sites, and I'm just grateful to see active PTOs and PTAs being involved in providing these extra things for our students. I also got some video stream feeding from my husband of the spooky play-in of the high, because I could not be everywhere, but I am glad that the orchestra is, doing these performances and getting the younger kids involved to see what it's like to perform in an ensemble, not just play by themselves. And then on October 29th, I was able to attend the DECA mini competition. I was a role play judge, and I was really nervous to be a role play judge, but it ended up being actually really fun. I think I'm glad I was a role play judge at the end of the day, because I was actually, really amazing to interact with the students. They were very well prepared, and I could tell that they've been working really hard. And so congratulations to all the students who are moving on, and great job putting in the work that they did to make that competition happen. And then I just wanted to conclude my report. I was, like Trustee Boulay said, it was really difficult for me this year with my schedule to get to the DARE graduations, but because there's social media, I was grateful to see that our students had support from some of our other trustees. And I wanted to thank Officer Abercrombie for doing such a great job with the program. I think it's a very important program, and I was grateful that other people who serve as elected officials came to support our students, like Supervisor Rickman, Director Moreno, and Director Tingle. And so it was great to see community support for this program, because it is a great program. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Olson. Trustee Pombo.
On October 20th, I attended the Cordis DARE graduation, and as always, it's amazing to see all the happy kids, very boisterous and excited about graduating DARE. On October 21st, I went to the Red Cross blood donation at Mountain House High School and gave a pint or 2 or 3 or whatever it was. On October 21st in the evening, I went and saw Peter and the Starcatcher at Mountain House High School, and I now know some of the secrets that always perplexed me, like how Hook lost his hand and so forth. On October 22nd, I went to the Diwali event at Central Park and thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy the being part of the celebration and seeing the celebration and customs of the Indian people. On October 26th, I attended the Altamont DARE graduation, which, like they always are, was enjoyable. On October 27th, I attended the Wickland DARE graduation, and those were some of the loudest kids I ever heard in my whole life. They had a lot of fun, and so did I. On October 28th, I attended the Cuesta, Altamont, Bethany, and Hanson carnivals and trunk or treat, and I even snuck a piece of candy or two. Enjoyed seeing the students and teachers and parents dressed up in their costumes and handing out candy. On the October 29th, I was one of the judges for the DECA mini competition at Mountain House High School. I also was a judge and enjoyed it quite a lot. It was very interesting talking to our students and having them explain things to me that I may or may not have understood before that. And then today I caught a few tennis matches of the girls' tennis championships at Mountain House High School. I understand as soon as I left, the rain came in and washed out the rest of the competition, but maybe I can make it out Saturday to catch the rest of them. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Pombo. Trustee Daniel.
Thank you. On October 22nd, I attended the Mountain House Diwali Mela at the Central Park. Diwali celebration is all about shopping for new clothes, tasting delicious food, and fellowship with family and friends. We practically had all those at the Mela. So thanks to all the volunteers who put that together. On October 22nd at 7 p.m., I also went to watch the Peter and the Starcatcher, and I would like to second what Trustee Olson mentioned. The cast and crew were minimal, however, I was able to see that a single person play multiple characters, and that made it very interesting. It was a very cute play. Great job to director, Ms. Hornbecker, and great job to all the cast, crew, and production team. On October 23rd, I went to the Mountain House Pumpkin Festival food drive and chili cook-off. It was actually nice to see all the happy faces of our kids, our LUSD kids, as they were selecting their favorite pumpkin for the Halloween. So thanks to Drew and Colin who organized it, and all the volunteers too for our kids in the community. October 23rd, I was invited to be a part of a community-hosted Diwali event. Our LUSD kids and future LUSD kids performed, actively participated in performances along with their parents. So it was a joy, and I'm just letting you guys know that there are 2 more Diwali events coming up, so you'll be hearing me talk about, Diwali a little bit more. More Diwali and more fun. October 26th, I attended the Wellness Committee meeting at 3:45 p.m. and I also attended the 5th grade DARE graduation at Altamont. On October 27th, I attended the DARE graduation at Wicklow. The energy and excitement of the 5th graders during the graduation ceremony is just amazing. And I have to give a big shout out to Mr. Abercrombie and to all the teachers who have put in the effort and for their dedication towards this. October 28th, Yeah, October 28th, I enjoyed visiting the trunk or treat at Bethany and Hanson Elementary. I was in awe of all the decorations that was made, and the trunks and uh, the costumes and all the efforts that the staff and parents had taken. That was just, I was in awe of that. And thanks to the PTA for taking a lot of time and effort towards it. October 29th, I volunteered as a judge at our very first Mountain House High School DECA mini competition. Thanks to our student leader, Satya, for sharing the details and requesting us to join as a judge. All the kids were exceptional, and it was wonderful to see them present. I was a writing judge, and so congratulations to all those who participated and those who are going to move on to the January competition. October 29th afternoon, I had the honor to be a part of MTCA Mountain House Tracy Cricket Association and was privileged to hand awards to the winners, runner-ups, and participants. So it was a fun afternoon talking about their leagues, the cricket leagues. October 30th, my husband and I, along with a youth volunteer, we handed out candies to the kids at the Mountain House Halloween Parade, organized by Mountain House Flag Football. It was a fun community event, as always. And October 30th evening, I was invited to attend the dedication of Sing Lane at Tracy Hills and participate in the celebration. October 31st at 8:30 a.m. I was all excited for October 31st. I just wish I could have been at all schools, but I was able to go to Cuesta at 8:30 a.m. and joined the kids with during the Halloween parade with their principals. The theme there was zoo. And the principals were zookeepers, and all the others were dressed as animals, so it was great. At 1:30 p.m., I did join the Halloween parade at Hanson, and their theme was all about Disney. So that was really cute, too. And I did get to meet Noel and our superintendent there. And our superintendent did get to engage our TK students about tiny ants on the ground while they were waiting. So that was a mini biology lesson, science lesson that our superintendent took, and it was cute to watch. November 2nd, that's today. So I went to at 3:30, starting from 3:30 onwards. I was there, part of the spelling bee. Our district spelling bee, which was just amazing to watch. So much of adrenal rush that we get while the kids are spelling. And congratulations, first of all, to all the kids who took part in the classroom test. And congratulations to every participant. And kudos to all the winners who are moving on to the county competition. We are very proud of all of you. So my request is those who attended the spelling bee and could not make it to the district or even county, keep working hard. Do not give up. And one day you'll be there. Lastly, I do want to bring the attention to the board about a follow-up that I made after last board meeting's public comment. So we did hear about the comment from a couple of our students who talked about how they felt that they were hungry and they were not able to focus because they're not able to eat it because of the brunch removal. And so what I did was, first thing was I followed up with our student leader, Satya, And I did ask her if, that was what she was hearing at school, because she's our student voice. And Satya did share the same concern to me. And I talked to a few other high school students too about it. And it was shared that those who I spoke, not everyone shared the same concern, but those who I spoke did let me know that they were hungry, they were not able to focus, and things like that. So Satya had suggested that we could do a survey, and I told her that I will, a very informal survey just to understand, because I was not understanding how many students were actually affected by it. So we did have, a very informal survey that was taken, but I think the survey started only yesterday morning, right? And then the results, I just have the results that Satya sent to me as of 6 p.m. And we have like 51 responses only. We have 2,000 students at our school, 51 responses, but again, it's a very informal survey where before I presented to the board, I wanted to understand if, what was the main concern there. And 84% of the 51 responses have said that it has affected their learning. Now, the part that really, what I wanted to bring to the board and the part that worried me was the kids mentioned that they were hungry. Our LUSD kids staying hungry is the part that worries me, and that is because of that, I would like to request a few things and place it here during my report. So the first thing that I would like to request is if we could have a formal review done to understand the the effect of the removal of the brunch. That would really help us to think about future, what we could do towards the future plan. The second request I do have is if we could request the staff at school, and if they are hungry and they are not able to learn, because they're not able to focus, that's what my understanding is. And as a parent, as a mother, I do understand that kids staying hungry is not going to enable them to focus. So if we could allow them to give them an opportunity to eat, and to staff to find out if any students not having the opportunity to eat, that would be great. And lastly, I would like us to share more communication about where and when other food are available to students. Like, I heard about Snack Shack. So this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So I'm not sure whether the students are aware about it until when it is available to them. If we could communicate that so that they will be fed. So our students, we are all serving our students, and we are, I feel like it's our important role to make sure that our kids are fed. And that's a request I have. So if I could request the board to have a consensus on, the survey for the students, a formal survey that the school could send, that will be great. This concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Daniel. So I'll deal with, we'll address the request for consensus after my board report, if that's okay.
Sure.
For my part, I attended the Quest Elementary School's presentation of Hey Diddle Diddle on 10/21, which was a fun little speed round of just about every nursery rhyme and skit I had ever heard of. There were rapid fire lines from the beginning at the end until the end, and I thought the students did a great job of remembering just rapid fire lines the whole way through. My head was spinning and I wasn't trying to remember it all, so fantastic job. I also attended the high school's presentation of Peter and the Dreamcatcher on 10/22. I thought the students did a fantastic job, as my fellow board members have already said. I also attended the Cuesta Elementary School Fall Carnival on 10/22. I'm sorry, on 10/22, I also attended the Diwali celebration in Central Park. Again, I love being invited to that celebration. It's so warm and colorful and welcoming. It's incredible. And I attended the Cuesta Elementary School Fall Carnival. It was great seeing the students having fun, and some of their costumes were absolutely incredible. My wife Jenny and I had a great time, so I wanted to thank the Cuesta School Foundation for all the work that went into putting the event on. As everyone knows, the election is next Tuesday, and I strongly encourage everyone to make their voice heard by casting their ballot. I wanted to wish each and every candidate the best of luck next Tuesday, and to the community at large, I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for entrusting me and my peers with the education of your children for the last 8 years. It has been one of the most incredible honors of my entire life. Thank you. On brunch schedule, I would remind the community and my peers that the board and district staff had district staff had worked with our teachers and staff to develop a daily timeline with a start and an end time. This schedule was incorporated into our collective bargaining agreements with the teachers and classified staff. In turn, teachers and classified staff used this schedule to plan their daily lives, including their daycare schedule. Realize that we have single moms and dads that teach and work in our district. Under that schedule, the high school started at 8 a.m., and the state legislatures in Sacramento passed SB 538, which delayed the start of high school from 8 until 8:30. It would be easy to say, just pick up the whole school day and move it 30 minutes later. That would solve all the problems. Except it would be wrong. The start and stop times for our employees are included in collective bargaining agreements, and more importantly, these teachers and classified staff have used these times to plan their lives and their daycare situations. When a single parent who happens to be a teacher has struggled to find daycare that fits with their schedule, they can't necessarily just say, "Oh, I'll be there 30 minutes later from now on." It doesn't work that way. Allow me to be clear, the district staff did not do this to our high school students. The district was required to comply with a law that created a conflict between 1, a brunch schedule that, admittedly, some students highly valued. 2, the time schedules currently codified in the collective bargaining agreements with teachers and classified staff. 3, a requirement to achieve a set number of instructional minutes and hours on an annual basis. And 4, start and stop times that some teachers and classified staff have been relying on as they put their daycare plans in place. The district developed a plan that balanced these 4 conflicting goals. Students do not have to consider all of these factors. They get to look at their brunch schedule and mourn the fact that it was changed. Parents do not have to look at these 4 factors. They get to look at their students and aggressively assert for their students, their children. I would expect them to do that. The district did the best that it could to accommodate the variable needs of students in this regard. As I said, parents don't have to consider this. They get to be champions for their children and ask for and vociferously demand what their children want, regardless of how impossible it might be for the district to deliver it without potentially severely impacting teachers and classified staff's ability to provide for childcare. The current discussions about the brunch schedule focus solely on what the students lost, and in turn, the parents perceive have been lost without acknowledging the inherent role and the inherent trade-offs that these desires would have on our teachers and classified staff. We, the 5 members of the board sitting here and our student trustee, were elected or appointed for the express purposes of weighing all of the conflicting goals and desires of students, parents, teachers, staff, and the community at large. The best decisions are not always popular, and popular decisions are not always best. So I understand the request for a consensus, and I would be the first one to say that if we have created a situation where students cannot eat, then that's a problem, and I would absolutely request district staff and specifically high school staff to look into that. You're absolutely right. In my opinion, we have to make sure that students have the ability to eat. However, my understanding, and Dr. Nicholas can correct me if I'm wrong, was that the breakfast schedule was extended as a result of this, and I may have used the wrong term.
Yeah, so I sent out a schedule to the board of a sample breakfast menu. The breakfast schedule was extended. The snack shack exists till 10:20, and those are the options that are made available to the kids post the brunch disappearing.
Okay.
There is also some other data that was included in that.
Was that the one at 6 p.m. this evening?
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm flying blind on that one. I didn't have the chance to read it before the board meeting. But anyway, we absolutely, I'm sure you have a consensus to make sure that students have the ability to eat nutritious food at appropriate times. I can't imagine that a single board member would say we shouldn't make sure of that. However, that does not necessarily mean that students should be able to eat whenever they, the brunch schedule is the only, because they've lost it, it's the only thing that will work in this situation, because unfortunately, there are other conflicting goals. And the district didn't do this to the students. It was trying to create a schedule based on a requirement from the state that we modify our schedule. So to be specific, formal review of the effect of the removal of brunch. I would say that there's a consensus there to make sure that students have, appropriate access to food at appropriate times. Is that a fair?
Which it sounds like we have already received that information earlier this evening, but I haven't had a chance to read my email.
If I can just clarify, what I heard was 3 things: that we need to make sure that all the kids know they have access to food, when they have access to food, things like the snack shack and the breakfast schedule and what's available. A reason in the sample menu that I sent to the board, there's 2 sets of items. There's stuff you can eat that's hot, and there's stuff you can grab and go from parfait to fruits and this and that. The second thing is that we need to get a survey to make sure that kids are getting fed, right? Or it could be an opportunity for kids who aren't being fed at home to ask for help. I heard that a survey, they need to be communicated, and they need to be provided an opportunity to eat. I think this is something the high school can handle through advisory or something like that. Gather some information. So that's what I wrote down as the 3 requests for board consensus. Did I get that accurate?
You did.
Is there a consensus? We support that? Okay.
Thank you very much, and I would like to just add saying that thank you for the sharing the details with everyone. And as a board member, I am very much aware of what we approved as a team, and I respect that. And I respect our teachers' time and how we have to value the academic minutes as per the state regulations. But again, as a parent, as a community member, I did want to request you, and thank you for the consensus, to make sure that our kids are fed. So the 3 things that Dr. Nicholas has with him will definitely help us to communicate with our students and to help with the future. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
just want to add one last thing. I know that Trustee Boulay mentioned that a student, MHH's alumni, is a teacher right now. She's my student. So I'm a proud student who is now seeing a student from my tutoring. So I'm just so proud to see that she's a Carter School teacher. So great job. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Trustee Daniel. Okay, so item 7, receiving of public comments. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. To facilitate this, the board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item, and the board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I do not have any blue comment cards, so I would ask if there's any member of the public that would like to speak during public comment. There being no one, I would ask for a consensus of the board to waive the reading of the remainder of the instructions for public comment.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I gotta flip the pages here. Item 8, consent items for consideration. A, governing board meeting minutes for the regular meeting on October 9th, 2022. B, ratification of 2022-2023 new hires. C, ratification of resignations. D, updated 2022-2023 fundraisers. And E, acceptance of donation, which is $50 from Kristen Collins to Ms. Cisneros' classroom at Lammersville Elementary School.
Move to approve
Second.
consent items.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Yeah.
Trustee Daniel. Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a seconded by Trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Any additional discussion or comment? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Trustee Olson, as board clerk, would you do the honors?
Yes, I'd like to welcome George Barella, High School Custodian Security 3, Jessica Lamas, Noon Duty Supervisor, Jenny Simmons, Noon Duty Supervisor, and Priya Virupaksha, Instructional Aide. Welcome to the Lammersville family.
Thank you very much, Trustee Olson. Item 9, district administrative reports. A, superintendent's report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yeah, we just have a couple of updates. I asked Assistant Superintendent Sharp, in the benevolence of the state, who held in sanction the state data and made us dance through hoops when we announced our good test scores. They've released that sanction and we can now speak it. So she's going to give a very brief overview of the actual scores that we can say with confidence are the actual scores instead of dancing.
Good evening, President Clements, board members, Dr. Nicholas. I am happy to be here tonight to give you with confidence our actual results that we have given in generalities the last couple of board meetings. So again, our highlights: we remain the highest performing district in San Joaquin County. We far exceed county and state averages. Our lowest performing district subcategories perform near, at, or above overall state and county scores, and students not meeting standards in science are near standard. If you recall, I showed you this graph or these pie charts early on. These are our actual scores. Now, as you can see, ELA 73.3%, math 68%, science 55%. And now I can show you the comparison where before it was general. I can show you actual numbers now. So this is the district to Alameda County. These are the districts that we compare ourselves to over the hill. You can see Dublin, Livermore Valley, Pleasanton, and San Ramon Valley. And the district is blue on the farthest left side in each of those chunks of bar graphs. And you can see how we are so close. We are really close to those other districts, and then we are far and above Livermore. So I wasn't just telling a story. It's true. You can see it here. And then again, district and San Joaquin County comparisons, you can see that we are significantly above the other school districts that we compare to in San Joaquin County. And in our subgroups, before we didn't have official numbers. Now we can tell you with confidence where our subgroups are scoring in comparison to overall state, which is the red on the farthest left. And I'll remind you that I am talking to you about our individual subgroups and how they compare to overall state, including all subgroups and all overall county. So this is an ELA. And then you can see in math, we are in every subgroup, nearly every subgroup, we are over the state and the county. So we're doing a great job in ELA and math. Any questions?
I just want to say that I've been bragging that we are above Livermore. So thank you so much for presenting more facts about it.
You're welcome.
And, congratulations to all our teachers and students. Thank you.
Of course.
I don't know if we say thank you to the state for finally giving you the honor to share that.
Right, I know.
It's great to have it.
Yes.
Thank you for the information, and thank you to all the staff, teachers, students, parents, everybody that helps us achieve these wonderful numbers.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and then a second presentation is there are a couple of fun events that have happened. First of all, today was the annual spelling bee. We had 2 rounds of groups of kids, some youngsters and some oldsters, we'll call them. They did rounds. Ben, I think the picture of Ben is pretty apropos for the event. Ben had command the whole time. If you look at the picture to the left, the smile, the pride that he took in his command, and then just commandeering the whole room on the right. We really appreciate that. Then we had the youngsters that won. They were, what was cool was I stopped for a moment. The young gentlemen on the left were all congratulating each other, and they were as excited for each other as they were for themselves. So that was really nice. So congratulations to all of our winners. A young lady won first, and a young man in the 4th through 6th grade category. So we did have a nice balance of students who won. And then we had on November 1st our district PD day. So remember, we have over 550 employees. There was on the classified side, we had division trainings and Keenan trainings and other opportunities. So this is a picture of a classified training. This is another picture of classified training. Again, this is a great opportunity to grow our staff. We broke up our teachers into school-based grade level cohorts, and they were spread out throughout the district, including at the high school. So this is an example of the group at Altamont, a group at Cuesta. This is what turned out to be what you could see how when people are working hard and they're having a good time, they also get hungry. We had a big feast at multiple schools. But I think the next picture is probably the most important picture of all. Thor Thor was checking out the lunchroom, and he was proud of what he saw. So we want to say thank you to all of our staff, our district staff, for organizing and putting this together. And we want to say thank you to all of our staff for their hard work and positive energy on November 1st. And that is my report.
Point of clarification, Dr. Nicholas.
Yes.
I noticed that we have professional development on November 1st quite frequently. Is that because we figure the parents feed the kids full of sugar and we don't want to deal with the day after?
In fact, part of that negotiation thing you talked about, that is a negotiated agreement with the district and the Teachers Association.
And I think that was one of the most brilliant things we did to our calendar, and I think the teachers probably feel the same way.
I can say
And
that teachers
parents.
in other districts are very envious of teachers in our district.
That is awesome. Is that the end of your report, Dr.?
That is the end of my report.
Item B,
Wait,
district.
Trustee Clements, I think, could we get that last photo on the district website?
You know, they say in human body language, hands on hips is a power stance. And we have the most powerful man in our district demonstrating it as a training exercise. The calisthenics that happened afterwards were impressive.
Item B, district enrollment report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yeah, 7,543, but as of a couple days ago, it was 48. So we're at the slow growth run. So it's going to slow down from big growth to a trickle for the next few months.
Thank you very much. Item C, district maintenance and operations report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Yesterday was Staff Development Day, as Dr. Nicholas alluded to. The first two pictures were our group. We were at Lammersville Elementary in the multipurpose room. We brought in all the custodians. We went over. We were lucky to have the gentleman that actually fixes our equipment from our vendor. He's been with the company for 43 years, and he has a ton of experience, about a lot of insight, and help the people. Help the people, give them some tricks how to keep better care of the equipment. That's one of the things we need to work on doing better. We also had our sales rep come in and go over chemicals and how to use them properly and touch point cleaning. So we spent about 2 hours at Lammersville doing that. And then we had some folks that didn't finish their keening training, so they spent the rest of the day finishing the keening training. And then that was how they spent their day. I'm having my bi-weekly meetings with the vice principal at the high school. We met last Thursday. Our next meeting is a week from tomorrow. Update on our projects. All the landscape projects that the board approved at Hanson, Wicklow, and Bethany are done. So that's a good thing. Solar, Cuesta, we're still waiting for the switchgear for Cuesta. It was supposed to ship on the 19th. We're expecting it any day. It was supposed to be 10 days. It should be coming this week. Knock on wood that it shows up. The high school is ready to go. Everything's done. All the wires pulled, everything, all that's done. They're doing the power switch over. They're going to shut it off on the 12th, which is a week from Saturday. It'll pretty much be off all day from about 7 to 4, something like that. And then they're going to tie in the solar, and they'll fire it up after that's done. Upcoming things, I'll be at the safety committee next Wednesday, and I will be at the Costa beam signing on following Thursday. And I'll be at the facilities meeting on December 8th. And staffing, we have 3 positions to fill. We're still looking for another floater custodian. We still have our warehouse / custodian position to fill. And then we have an evening position at Wicklow. Those are our 3 openings. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, item 10, action items. A, consider approval of updated unrepresented certificated job description, coordinator of curriculum, instruction, and programs. Staff report?
Yeah, one of the nice parts of moving beyond the era known as the pandemic is we had an opportunity to feel what it was like to restart the engines on this big jet with like 1,000 more kids, and you couldn't quite feel it until we went full bore. And so we're doing a grand scale analysis of our needs in the district to meet the needs of our students today, but we're also looking at where is easily going to project to 9,000 to 10,000 students in a not too far, it wasn't very articulate, in not too many years from now. And so one of the positions that we had when it was originally created had kind of a hokey title that if you look at it, what we need and do today. So this is an update to the coordinator position. It's a little less specific and more general, and it allows us the ability to hire coordinators without having too specific a title, which would require us to create more and more job descriptions. And this one is highly recommended by staff so that we can continue to hire high-quality professional developers to support our staffing needs.
Consider approval of updated unrepresentative certificated job description, coordinator of curriculum, instruction, and programs.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and a second by trustee Olson, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Any additional discussion or comment? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item B, consider approval of contract with Keo Autism Therapy LLC for intensive individual service for the 2022-2023 school year. Total cost $62,383. Staff report?
Yes, this is an IEP-driven item. It's a one-to-one aid to support the needs of a student.
Move to approve contract with Keo Autism Therapy LLC for intensive individual services for the 2022-2023 school year. Total cost $62,383.
Second.
Did you guys both go?
I finished.
Okay.
I started and finished.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know who was first. Okay, based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Aye. And is trustee Pombo going to ask if those funds are covered by the general fund?
Yes, a clarifying question. This is for a one-on-one aid related to services and related services for an individual student and is paid out of the general fund, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
I was trying to preempt your clarification. Didn't quite make it.
I didn't allow it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item C, consider approval of public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for Lammersville Teachers Association LTA. Staff report?
Yes, this is very good news. I think the partnership and the hard work between our Teachers Association and their leaders, their leadership team, and Nick Lanier, the president, and our district leadership team, specifically Mr. Harrison, Mrs. Barrios, and Ms. Grovehalva, led to a really good agreement. So this is the formal acknowledgement of the board of a 2-year agreement that was a lot of work over a long period of time, done with a lot of analysis and effort. So we are very proud of this. A 2-year settlement gives us a lot of time to have everybody know and plan their lives, and also allow the district to build and grow and build its programs without a new bargaining season coming up. We have more work to do. We have 2 unions in our district. CSEA is slated to begin soon. And once that's done, then we have our unrepresented management also. But we're very proud of this outcome and more good news to share with you soon.
Move to approve public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for Lammersville Teachers Association.
Second. I just want to thank you for all of your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Additional discussion or comment?
I would just like to give a big thank you to all the staff that work so hard on this, as well as all the LTA representatives that work equally as hard on their side of the negotiation. Thank you to everyone.
I would echo that. Thank you very much, everyone.
Echoed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item 11, information and discussion items. A, data dashboard infographic. Staff report?
Yes, we're bringing out the infographic out of mothballs with the pandemic. This very important piece of communication has been brought back together. Mr. Harrison leads this effort. He's going to go through and explain to you all the details and all the information within it.
Board President Clements, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. Good evening. Just a little bit of history. Approximately 4 years ago, we came forward with an infographic that demonstrated all those positive things that we saw tonight, all those great test scores and all the great things that our kids are doing and our staff are doing. As a shot, one place to look for parents and community members that want to see what our district is doing when it comes to data that is encompassed into our LCAP plan, our Local Control Accountability Plan. So, as Dr. Nicholas mentioned, it was on a bit of a hiatus because some of the federal and state data points that we usually put in the infographic were halted during COVID, and then they were re-energized this last year. So, you may recall, here is our infographic. You may recall the formatting and what it looks like. I'm going to go through it and go through the architecture. Then I'm going to go through the individual aspects. So this first page is goal 1, systematic closure of the opportunity gaps for our LCAP. And this goal addresses the state priorities right here, goals, state priorities 2 and 4. As the board may recall, previous presentations I've given about the state priorities on a number of occasions, there are 8 state priorities. So with this first page, we're addressing priority 4, right here, pupil achievement, and the state standards priority 2. So down here at the bottom of the page, you can see our enrollment by ethnicity for our school district. It's broken out TK8 and grades 9 through 12. And then one last piece up here in the top right-hand corner. This is the date of inception. And then over here, you can see this is the date of the data we're using, 2021, 2022. Okay? All right. So let's start with AP pass rate. So 79% of our students passed with a 3 or higher on their advanced placement test. AP tests are scored with a scale of 1 to 5, and this assessment system is facilitated by the College Board. Scoring a 3 or higher on an advanced placement test may allow students to receive college credit once they enroll in a college and attend. 26% of all Mountain House High School students are in at least one AP class. It's a very high percentage. And over here you can see the breakdown of our enrollment by focus group. You may recall in the LCAP we have a group of students that are a focus group. It's these 5 subgroups that are a focus group. Now when it says here percent scoring 3 or higher, 1.82% of our black population are in an AP class, and 1% scored a 3 or higher. 7.1% enrolled of the Hispanic group, 4% passed with a 3 or higher. So you can kind of see how that works rolling down that scale. This kind of structure is you're going to see this throughout the document. So next is the CASP scores. Reminder, this is 21-22. 73% proficient in ELA, 68% proficient in math. And on the left side, you can see the proficiency levels by focus group. The California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress is what CAPS stands for. It's given in ELA, math, and science. ELA and math are taken in grades 3 through 8 and 11th grades, and science is taken in grades 5, 8, and 11th. A to G readiness. A to G readiness is what is used to qualify for University of California school system. High school students must take 15 year-long courses with a C or higher, and that's a minimum. A to G, I put down the sections here. A is history, B English, C math. You can see how the different sections and requirements, minimal requirements that the UC requires for entrance. Up here on the right, you can see our breakdown by focus group. And these are obviously 12th graders who are graduating high school. So grade point average of 3.0 or higher. Our grade point averages are, they're either standard, unweighted, or weighted. And what that means is when you look at student all grades, unweighted, 71% of our students without weighted grades are getting a 3.0 GPA or higher in grades 9 through 12. Over here on the left is the breakdown by focus group. A weighted course is an AP or honors course. It changes the GPA of the student. So we went with the straight GPA instead of weighted GPA. So 21% of our students in grades 9 through 12 received at least one D or F. And then the breakdown of our focus group students is here on the right. And this data is obviously a student receives one D or one F or more would fall into this category. The Northwest Evaluation Association, the measures of academic programs, or progress, or known as MAP testing that we give in our district is another indicator that we use in LCAP to look at student performance, particularly student performance throughout the school year. So we had a 64% proficient in ELA and 57% proficient in math. And then you can see the breakdown by our focus groups here. Now, ELA is given in all grades except TK1, and math is given in all grades except TKK. So the diagnostic reading assessment is used in our lower grades in K through 2. It's given 3 times per year, and this is exactly what it says, a reading assessment. It's how we monitor student progress. So this is an indicator for future success for our students in reading. You can see overall 78% are on track for third trimester data, and then you can see the breakdown of our focus groups. Progress monitoring and DRA occurs throughout the school year. We draw the data one time at the third trimester for this document. And then lastly, in this column, the early assessment program. It's utilized by the CSU system to indicate student readiness for college level work. In other words, if you score high enough in the EAP, you can go straight into general education classes without support or having to take remedial classes. So this percentage are the percentage of students who qualified in ELA, and in math, they scored ready or conditionally ready for the CSU system. And on this side, you can see the focus groups and how well those groups did. They are a group of specific questions that are embedded in the CASP assessment, and those questions are pulled separately to create the EAP score, and only in ELA and math. Okay, moving over to the right, professional learning. We always stick in here some of the things going on with our teachers. We have 14 teachers in the Blended Learning Academy, 4 teachers in the Reading Academy. We have 57 teachers in the New Hire Academy, which is pretty a high number. And then I also added some of the other trainings that we have teachers in. We have model lesson review, PLTW training, ST math, intervention, small group, and we have much, much more. The reason we put this in here is because it's a nice little indicator to show us what kind of training we're doing for our teachers, and this is mentioned in our LCAP plan as a part of one of our goals. The LPAC assessment, or the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, it measures English proficiency, or speaking and reading and writing English. This is the summative LPAC score that we use here. 797 students took the LPAC assessment. 76% of students scored in the top 2 LPAC levels, meaning that they're ready to use English. And then down here, you've heard me present a number of times on our local indicators. These are the local indicators that have an impact on our LCAP plan. And these indicators decide or are a function of where we are as a district in the realm of curriculum. So is it aligned to state standards? Is it fully adopted content? And the One 3 that we have here is next generation science standards, which we're exploring new content in grades 6 through 8 and in other areas. That's why we scored ourselves as a 3 down here. And this is a self-assessment based on a criteria given to us by the state. So we do have to follow their rules. Okay, let's go to goal 2. So goal 2, the architecture is similar to goal 1. You can see the state priorities up here that we're addressing in these 2 goals. Here's the summary. And then on the left are the individual indicators by section. So I'll start up here to the left. So 100% of students have standards aligned instructional materials. Facilities are in good repair, 100% with fit reports. Teachers are properly credentialed. As the board may remember, I spoke to you previously about credentialing and how we have a number of teachers with variable term waivers or intern credentials, or a provisional or short-term staff permit, PIPs and STIPs. Now, according to the CCTC, the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, those teachers are fully qualified to teach in our classrooms. Totally appropriate. According to LCAP and according to the accountability model, they are considered unqualified teachers. So there's a little push-pull here. But we have 91% of our teachers are fully qualified, and I use quotes, teachers. So our parent volunteers on the left is something that we report in our LCAP plan. At the beginning of 2021, we had 259 parent volunteers, and the next year we had 2. So I think we all know what happened in between there. We weren't doing much with volunteers or having extra people on campus, right? On the right, you'll notice we had our survey results. 88% of parents think LUSD schools prepare students academically for success in life. This survey was given to 5th, 7th, and 9th grade students. That's because this is a result of the Healthy Kids survey result that we give every other year. The next time we're giving it is in 2023-24. The next data point is 83% of parents believe LUSD schools encourage active partnership. And once again, that's grades 5, 7 through 9. This is some of our suspension and expulsion rates, and it falls under school climate. We had 1.1% in 2019-20, 0.3% in 2020-2021, and 1.9% in 2021-22 are suspension rates. Our expulsion rates were 0.20% in 19-20, 0.07 in 2021, and 0.12 in 21-22. Now, one of the subgroups, these are our subgroup rates. We do have some disproportionality with black students, overrepresented. 0.04% of our population are African American or black, and we had 0.05% of them being suspended at least once for the 21-22 school year. So that's a data point that we're working on that will be included in our LCAP plan as an area for growth. The data for 2019-20 and 2020-21, I want to make sure I point this out, comes from DataQuest. And the 21-22 is raw data out of CalPADS because it hasn't reported DataQuest yet. Move on to goal 3. These are our pupil engagement indicators. So our attendance rate, 94%. It dropped a little bit from pre-COVID. Chronic absenteeism went up a bit, 15%. You can see the groups below. Notice the arrows. The arrows are telling us what direction that data has gone. This data has gone up, this data has come down. And then if you look at our graduation rate, good job by the high school, 100%. Technically, it was not 100%. It was 99.99. And you know what? That's 100% pretty much anywhere. So we put 100%. And then we had a 0% dropout rate. So this is our course access to a free and appropriate education. Our CTE pathways, we have 69% of our students are enrolled in a CTE course of some kind. 56% of enrollees are males, 56% of all males and 44% of all females are enrolled in a CTE course. And then you can see the breakdown here by our focus group. Advanced placement, we have 26% of our students in an AP course. You saw that on a previous slide. And here's the breakdown of the enrollment. 14% of these students are males and 17% of these students are females. And then our early college enrollment, 21, 22, and 25. And we, working with the high school, with Mr. Faubert, are constantly working on this group here to increase the underrepresented student groups. They've made a concerted effort with their counselors and with their administrative staff to really work on this group. And then lastly on this, the ACT, which is the American College Test. An average score is 24 on the ACT, and the score range is 1 to 36. So you can see how we did at the high school versus California. This left side is the high school, this side is California. Interesting part of this data point, we have very few kids take the ACT. I think this data was based on 58 kids. That's very low. The SAT is in the middle. You can see the results of our scores, the high school compared to California overall. A 1040 is an average score with a score range of 400 to 1600. And then I have the PSAT on here, our preliminary scholastic aptitude test, or PSAT. Average score is a 920 with a range of 320 to 1520. And you can see with the SAT and the PSAT, we clearly outpace the state. So with that said, one of the things that all of our school sites and district staff are working on is the 20% of students that may not be meeting standard. This really gives us a snapshot of where we really need to focus some of our time. So it's a very handy tool that we have as a district that will be posted on our website. When it's posted on our website, it will have people who come to look at it will have the ability to click and see a summary of what each of these means. So people that come and don't deal with this data every day, like I do, they can go, well, what does this mean? And they can click it and they have a little summary. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question and a comment. On the curriculum, we got all 5s and a 3 in next generation science standards. Does that 3 have to at least partially have to do with the unavailability of curriculum in that?
Yes, it does. That is an accurate statement. The inavailability of the content and text that reflect the next generation science standards and quality material. So we had some school sites go through the RCD process, the rigorous curriculum design, to create their own content. But now we're looking at moving into a more content-based look at this. And I think there is more material out there. Assistant Superintendent Sharp will be leading that charge.
Thank you. And now a minor critique. Under the suspension and expulsion rate, the expulsion rate seems to me that it's expressed in a different format than the suspension rate, making it look like in 2019, 2020, we had a 20%. And I realize the decimal point is there, but it would look better to my eye if there was a 0 on the opposite side like there is on the 3 for the...
Yeah, okay. Yes, we can do that. You betcha. You'd be amazed how many sets of eyes have looked at this and how many times we've found, wait a minute, we need to change it this way. Thank you. That's a great idea.
All of the numbers on the expulsion rate side would look better to me, and I may be the only one, if there was a 0 preceding the decimal points.
You betcha. And maybe I could add, I don't think I said these are the raw numbers and these are the percentages. So this is the raw number of students in parentheses with the percentage. Thank you for pointing that out. We will do that.
Thank you.
Do we have a timeline for when this is going to be live on our website?
Well, we're going to take one more look at it and make any changes that the board would like to see. And then we're going to have a meeting and discuss the sources of all the data. You'd be surprised how many different sources of data we have on the items on here. So we're going to get our group together. It's, I failed to do this. Sean Yohannan and his group did a great job putting this together, along with Assistant Superintendent Sharp, Ms. Busatil, Sarah, and HR. We all worked as a team to get this together. But to answer your question in a shorter manner, we're going to meet next week, identify all the data points and where exactly we're going to get it from moving forward, and standardize it and automize it so that it's updated each year. So once we do that and we go through it one more time, then we're going to post it.
Okay. And then was this a template like from the state, or we created this from scratch?
Was created by scratch by us.
Wow, I like it. It's colorful. It's eye catching. I mean, it's just looking at the numbers and the colors. It's like a celebration, and I think really relatively fairly easy to follow. So yeah, great job.
Mr. Harrison is being humble. It was Mr. Harrison's idea. It was something he had seen in his past, and he brought it here, and it was his recommendation.
And I think it's great too for people who are looking to move into the town and they want to see how our school systems, how our schools are doing, and you know where we sit in terms of all this data. So I think it's great. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Could I ask a clarifying question? I on the AP pass rate data. So like for example, when you say 1.82% of Black students were enrolled in AP courses, and of those Black students, only 1% of the students passed the exam.
Okay, that's a great question, because this is something that we dealt with on the percentages by subgroup. So 1.82% of all Black students are enrolled in an AP class.
Okay.
1% of those students scored a 3 or higher on an AP test.
Okay, because that was like making me like freak out a little bit. Okay.
Yes, and that data, I'm glad you clarified. Yes.
Thank you.
So that is, both numbers are of the total rather than one being a percentage of the other.
It is not a percentage of the total, it's a percentage of the total subgroup. So
Right.
of that one,
But-
yes.
In other words, my question would be not 1% of the Black students who took an AP course scored 3 or higher, 1% of all the students
Essentially,
who were Black.
No. Yeah, yes, you nailed it, yes.
50%, it looks to me, when I see 1.82 and 1%, that tells me that more than 50% of the Black students that took an AP class got a 3 or better.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Yeah.
And I had the same confusion as Trustee Olson.
We had some spirited conversations about the percentages here as well, yes.
So I have a couple of questions on goal 2, suspension expulsion rates. The subgroup suspension rates for 21-22, Black 21.3, Hispanic 18. Am I reading that to say, and SPED 32.6, does that mean 1/3 of our SPED students were suspended at some point or another?
That's the overall suspension rates. Yes, so of the suspensions, that's the percentage by group. Something we need to work on.
So not 33% of our special ed students were suspended. Of the students who were suspended, 1/3 of them were special ed.
32.6,
Okay,
yes.
Which is an entirely different.
Of 150
Literally,
suspensions.
I was reading that like 1 in every 3 SPED students.
That'd be a
got
couple hundred kids,
suspended,
yeah.
And I am like, how the hell could I not be aware of this? Like,
It's of that 150, the raw number.
okay, all right. Go ahead.
I'm wondering if putting the raw number in parentheses next to those percentages underneath would be helpful.
I agree, because I mean, you look at this slide with the suspension expulsion rates in orange, it's very clear.
Like right here.
Percentages versus how many actual. And so those confusion with the percentage of this versus percentage of that would make it more clear.
So
what those
like
numbers
behind this
actually are.
parenthesis, or behind this percent right here, we put a parenthesis and put the overall, so that somebody that's looking at this that doesn't read this data all the time know it's 21.3% of 150.
Right. And
Got
also, if you go to the disproportionality of it, Black students represented 0.04 of the total population and 0.05. To me, that seems like a very, very small difference.
Yes.
But if there were raw numbers there, we might see that there is a lot of room for improvement.
Okay.
Because I mean, statistically, is that a huge difference? But if we saw the raw number, we might have a different vision of that.
Likewise, you're saying put the raw number behind down here in this row here. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Irene, you got that?
On goal 1,
Yes.
in terms of closing the opportunity gaps, I don't know that, I mean, it may I think it would probably gum up the numbers, but as a board member, I would be interested in seeing how these numbers have progressed, because just seeing where it is right now doesn't tell me whether we're closing the opportunity gap or we're expanding the opportunity gap. And I feel like a thirst for how are we doing, you know, is it closing some, and I'm not saying it need, you know, because I'm not saying it needs to go on this, I call it a placemat, because it kind of looks to me like a, you know, how you go to a restaurant and you see all this, they put this interesting stuff that you can read while you're waiting for your meal. I'm like, yeah, this is all cool. But anyway, I'm not saying it should go on the placemat, but I really, as a board member, want to know how we're doing over time. Are we successfully closing the opportunity gap or not?
Well, is it possible to leave the current dashboard up, which is a few years old, and then just add a tab for the current one, or drop-down menu or something? So then you can go back and forth and see.
There's, if I could, we're restarting, right?
Okay.
Because we've had 2 years of nothing. So I don't know that we want to compare to 3 years ago data, right? But what we were planning, in these sections here, where you see this data, if you look at what we did here with the little arrows, in the future we were going to add that so that, you know, this is our start year, and then next year we'll have little arrows by it which would show us up, down, and we could really track it a little better. And I think we could leave both. We could leave the previous years and the current year, but that was our plan moving forward in these columns here, adding those little arrows.
Yeah.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Because then, as long as the arrows are going the right direction, then you don't really have to worry about it. Okay, we were successful. But if it goes the wrong other direction, it's like, okay, wait, you know, have we been going the wrong direction for multiple years? And we need to dive into it, whatever.
And then you can get your focus on those arrows that are going down, right? Yep.
I have a question on the LCAP 3. I think it's not a question, a suggestion.
Okay.
For the ACT, SAT, PSAT part.
Down here?
Yes, please. So when I was reading this, I wasn't able to understand whether it was average or least score. If we could mention that, you know, that's the average score, right?
These scores right here?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that in the descriptor when they hover over. We'll have the average for like this information. When people hover over these, that information will be available for each of these.
Yep, that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
I think it's great, and it looks like a lot of work, so thank you to everybody who, I mean, it's numbers, so I'd be ripping my hair out, but great job to everybody.
Yeah.
The team did a great job.
Yep. It looks fantastic. I have one more question.
Yes.
Sorry. So these are hard-coded data. Am I right?
They are what?
Hard-coded data, which means we input the number for each slide. Am I right? Based off on the data that we collected, like 79% is for 2021 to 2022. What I'm trying to ask is for next year, so do you have to go back to the slide and then update the number, or are we thinking about any sort of automation process which would help, you know?
Mr. Harrison, can I interject a point? One of the positions that is glaringly missing for us is someone who can be the commander of all this data and the programs that produce data. The fine people sitting in the audience are the people who are going and getting the data, but they're also in charge of big things. So if something happens in a big thing when they're working on this gets set aside. So we need help. So that everybody can command their own ship, and we don't have to park the ship and jump on another ship. So you've pointed out to an area that we're working on, and recommendations will be coming forward, that we need help in this area with someone who spends their day living in this space. So good folks like this gentleman here can say, I need X, Y, and Z, and someone goes, and it shows up. As right now, he's planting all the seeds, harvesting the corn, and he's got a group of farmers over there that shuck it, and then we send it off to market. I don't know if that analogy worked, but I went with it.
That's perfect. Thank you for letting me know that recommendations are coming in, because I'm just thinking that if we could automate this process, then it would definitely help save time and focus on your duties more. So thank you so much.
To use Dr. Nicholas' analogy, we are working on getting some combines together, so
Okay,
we can automate
awesome.
it.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Great job. And again, I would echo that. Thank you very much to the team that crunches all these numbers to put it together. We need it condensed into understandable packets of information, and I think that this infographic does a great job of doing that. So thank you. Item B, school safety report update. Dr. Nicholas.
We're at the, but wait, there's more point of tonight's presentations. Mr. Harrison is going to present a school safety update on a large number of efforts around our schools and their safety and the safety committees and such.
Board President Clements, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. So at previous board meetings, you've had presentations by Ms. Busatil, who's talked about safety walks and some other things that we've been doing in regards to school safety. One of the things that Ms. Busatil mentioned, and I will also mention tonight, is much of the things that we talk about when it comes to our safety walks or school safety, probably 90% of them go through the safety committee. And the safety committee puts in the hard work to tackle difficult topics, communicate, and make decisions that help the students and staff of LUSD. So with that said, some of the things that I'm going to cover on the school safety front are items that have come up recently related to entrance and egress, and some structural changes that we're looking at for added security at our school site. I'm going to update the board on cameras, which came through the facilities and safety committee previously. I'm going to talk about street safety, the assessment of school drop-off and pickup, exits at certain school sites, entrances to certain school sites, the addition of speed bumps and other safety measures that were a collaboration in the safety committee with the Mountain House CSD, community members, teachers, the sheriff's department, the fire department, all of the team members that are on that safety committee. So one of the things that Ms. Busatil mentioned last time she had a presentation were the safety walks, and we were talking about the entrances to our school sites. Since that presentation, I have had conversations with Dr. Nicholas and our architect, Wes, who you're all familiar with, and some communications with our door contractors. And the conversations were, do we have to get DSA approval, Department of School Architecture, to make these minor changes to our entrance of our schools? The answer from our architect was no. We can make these changes because they are pretty minor changes to our school sites. Now, do we have to make them ADA compliant and work for everybody? Yes, obviously we have to do that. Hence why we're going to be looking at some contractors to do the work for us. So if you look at Bethany, the window right next to the metal work on the picture on the left, which is zoomed in on the picture on the right, our plan is to change that window into a door so that when people enter campus, they go through that door, which is on the public side of the metal fencing, and then they would exit onto the campus once they've gone through the Raptor and gone through the sign-in process and making sure they're somebody that belongs there. They'd go into the campus proper behind the metal gates, thereby making those metal gates work the way they should work in our modern era of safety and office safety. Same consideration is here at Cuesta. So one of the ideas that we had in our walks was to use this window here on the right. You can see in the big picture on the right, the long picture's on the left, and make a door to enter Cuesta on this side of the steel wall that you see on the right. Now, Throughout this process, we're trying to pick the most cost-effective and least damaging to our beautiful schools, right? So with this door, Wes told us we're gonna have to have an automatic door and perhaps a door that works on a hinge that comes out like this, because the door has to open all the way for 36 inches of access, right? So right now, that's our first choice. Now, may that change once we get a contractor in here to look at it? It might, but right now, we think that's our best choice. And when we do our contractor walk, we'll get more information on that. So as you can see, people would enter in that door, go into the office, check in, and go out the other door onto the campus proper. And then at Wickland, you can see on the left is a far picture, medium in the middle, and then a close-up on the right of the window we're planning to turn into a door. We'll lay some cement over there on the left, pull out some bushes, and that'll be a new entranceway that people will entrance on this side of the steel gating and then go onto the campus proper on the far side of the steel gating at Wickland. The next one's a little more complex. So this is Lammersville School. Now, a couple things are planned to happen here. If you look at the diagram on the left, it's a picture of the corner of the office, which the bottom picture on the right shows the entrance to the office, and the picture at the top shows the corner of the office. Now, that diagram that was provided to us by Wes, our architect, shows, and by the way, this is a part of our modernization plan for Lammersville. The drawing shows the entrance, the public entrance, which is there in red ink. You go through the door, you go check in at the office at the front desk, and then we'll create an opening straight through the wall in the office and into the principal's office. It's a huge office, any of you that have been there. It can afford to have a little L put in it to keep our campus safer. So that L will be a wall that goes to the door that you can see partway open. That will be the safe entry onto campus. Now, if you look at the corner of the building where it says nurse, that corner right there, the new fencing, the steel fencing, will go from that corner over to the classroom buildings to the east. And that will be the steel fencing like we have standard at our other school sites. I think everybody involved realizes that this is the least impactful way to make the entrance change and be a little safer. And we think it's a great idea. The principal may have to move her desk around a little bit, but she's got the biggest office in the district, so.
It's palatial.
It is.
Was it considered to put a door into that hallway from the principal's office so that the principal's office would continue to have another door to exit?
Are you asking if on the wall, the long part of the wall, there'd be a door so she could get out there?
Right.
Yeah, that certainly could be part of this.
We could do that because that's a workroom. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'll continue. So moving on, I'm going to give you a quick update on cameras. Cameras came to the safety committee I think 3.5 years ago. We had long conversations about cameras at our school sites. The board approved the investment of cameras on all of our campuses that didn't have them. It was a great expense, but I think it's really been helpful to the safety of our campuses. So you can see here the different counts that we have at different school sites. And the reason there are different counts is because of blind spots. Some schools have more blind spots than others, so they need more cameras. We did a reevaluation with the help of Director Sean Yohannan. We added 3 cameras at Cordis. We added 4 at Lammersville, 18 at the high school, and then we added 13 at Wickland. And the ones at Wickland were really some significant blind spots that we had to fix. So the safety committee, here's a brief history. Road safety has been a topic of conversation since, for my experience here, July of 2017. And you can see the different dates that we talked about road safety. Many of the conversations were with Anush Nejad from the CSD. And then I even threw in there the facilities committee who discussed a couple of these items as well because it affected our facilities. I think Trustee Boulay was on the facilities committee at that time, and Trustees Pombo and Board President Clements were on the safety committee and or facilities, I think, during these times. So some of the things we discussed when it comes to road safety is signage. And I'm going to show you some examples in later slides, but the signage has changed drastically on our streets over the last 3 years. The addition of traffic cameras, second countdowns for pedestrians, vehicle speed feedback signage, speed bumps, and I'll show you some pictures that show some speed bumps a little bit later and how they were added. Crosswalk safety, we added additional crosswalks, high visibility pavement markings, which I'll show you what those are a little bit later. And then they did additional surface street policing, CHP, sheriff presence, and rank security. So all of these types of items came through the safety committee and were a result of principals providing feedback. Here's what's going on in front of my school. Here's what's going on around my school. And a response by the CSD to make those changes. So additional signage, like the crosswalk sign there. Additional signage, like the signs on the right. Notice it has the markings on the pavement. See those white arrows? Those are designed to catch the eye of a driver. At least this is how Anush explained it to me when we were talking about this. And get them to slow down at the crosswalk where there's another sign that lights up for kids that are crossing. Now this is on the east side of the high school. Behind me taking this picture are 2 sets of speed bumps, which were also added because that street, with input from the high school, they told us that street, people speed down that street too much. So they added the crosswalk, they added 2 speed bumps, and they added a stop sign on that street. On the left, you'll notice the added speed bumps. Frequently, the speed bumps are added before entrances and exits to the schools or in and around crosswalks on the entrance side of the schools. This was all discussed in our safety meetings. This was a big one that came to the safety committee, and that was markings on the curbs. The curvature markings really helped because people would park right up to the edge of the crosswalk. And then people driving, no matter how slow they were going, couldn't see kids coming out or adults coming out from between the cars. So we worked with CSD, and both staffs went and painted curbs. Our staff painted some curbs with the right paint from the CSD, and the CSD painted some curbs. So you can see the curvature on the picture on the right with the extra signage on the right in the crosswalk so that cars don't block the visual for the crosswalk, and then also the exit of the school. Notice that's a driveway. So a lot of these red lines were put into the driveways as well because previously there weren't. And people would park right up to the edge, right, during pickup. Similar picture, same concept. I showed you a before and kind of an after. That's how they looked before and then after. So crosswalk safety, some background. The safety, like I said, the Safety and Facilities Committee have had a lot of experience working with Mountain House CSD. Many cities and counties established a crossing guard program. That was a question asked about that. Under their inherent powers to protect the community. Key questions have been the following, and some of these questions are questions that we asked when we discussed this in the Safety Committee previously, and that is, has the community provided enough enforcement, signage, and safety to the streets? A lot of that changed since the first time we discussed this in Safety Committee. A lot of changes were made. Who funds? City, county, law enforcement? Who facilitates the partnership? The municipality, law enforcement, with the school district? Who bears responsibility? Who takes the liability risk? This is a big one. We consulted our attorneys, and I'll talk more about that later as a part of this process. And then this one's big right now. Who hires? If we were going to do crossing guards in our school district, there's about 40 or so areas that would need crossing guards, depending on what the scope of the project was. Finding staff. We know finding staff is challenging. We know they have to be trained, and there has to be accountability. You got to show up to that corner at 7:45 every day? And if you don't, who's checking? And if you don't, if somebody gets hurt, right, those are things we're going to talk about in a minute. So here's a look at Wickland. And I put some gray stars up there indicating the different crosswalks that we have around the school. The front of the school is at the bottom of the picture. And you'll notice on the right and on the left, there's 4 crosswalks in the corners, and then one right outside of the exit to the school. And then around the school site proper, you can see the rest of the stars around demarcating crosswalks. Where potentially, if we were going to do some sort of crossing program, you would want to have coverage. On this next picture of Bethany, before I point out the stars, I want to point out at the bottom of the screen by the parking lot, notice the speed bumps. Those speed bumps were strategically placed there because Ms. Wingo at the safety committee meeting said, hey, people are driving too fast in front of my school. And so CSD put in those big speed bumps right there at the beginning of the entrance to school on the right, just by the grass, and then one midway, and then one right before the exit to the parking lot for the school. And then we added some red curvature there, and I think they added one of the crosswalks right there on the left. I think it only had one. I think they added one there. All of these discussions were had with principals in the room, CSD in the room, and all the staff members that and people in our school district that see these things going on. So crosswalk safety. So city, county, and police agencies are best positioned to do a crossing program. SRTS money, Safe Routes to School money, is available. SB 1087 allows 10% of funds to be spent there by municipalities or county agencies. And that allowance was extended by AB 57, and there's no end on it. There was an end on it, there's no end on it now. Safe Routes to School funding through Caltrans also allows state and local and regional agencies to partner with school districts. The National Academy of Sciences Transportation Research Information Services. This is the group that gives cities and counties information on traffic engineering countermeasures. So all these things I've been discussing are countermeasures to help make our streets safer. In some cases, municipalities partner with CBOs, community-based organizations like Rotary, private contracted agencies, county public works, and police or sheriff's office. So we talked to our lawyers extensively about this, and they did a lot of research for us as a school district. Now, more liability is put on the district if we undertake the idea of crossing guards for our students. And the main reason is responsibility for the conduct and safety of any pupil, only while such pupil is or should be under the immediate and direct supervision of an employee or such district or board. Obviously, less liability, not having or sponsoring a crossing program, because by Ed Code, a school district shall be responsible or in any way liable for the safety or conduct or safety of any pupil of the public schools at any time when such pupil is not on school property. And there's the attorney sent us a case by Guerrero versus South Bay Union School District that kind of supported that and gave us the Ed Code. So some of the other questions that the attorney asked is, okay, so let's say you do this, which sites will be covered and where? What if employees are on leave of absence? Will some or no supervision be provided? Will you just put it on these two corners and not those two corners? And what makes those two corners less important? And then how will the school identify which kids are accepting supervision and which ones are striking out on their own? And then where does the supervision begin and end? Is it for major walking routes home or some other metric? So there are a lot of definitions that have to be put in place. Now, as a part of this research, I looked at some plans that other school districts and counties and municipalities partnered with, and a lot of them set the criteria for when the people will be there, what they will do, and why that corner was chosen. Most of the articles I read, there was either a partnership or there was an engagement by a city or a county group to start the program. And in talking with our attorneys, when we discussed this the last time, they felt that the best track or the people that are best suited to provide that type of program are municipalities or safety organizations. One disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know if I could comment any further on the attorney parts. But that is our current presentation on additions to our cameras, changes to the front of our schools, changes to the entrance and egress of our schools, the safety in our streets. What's happened in our streets over the last 4 years has really changed. And now, as you see with Cordis and Hanson, now it's standardized. We no longer have to say, hey, CSD, this is what our concerns were at the front of the school or with the high school in the back of the school. It's standard. So when they put in, they got speed bumps, they got the big bright shiny lights that do all the flashing all around the schools, which is great. And I think some of that's due to our partnership with the CSD. Any questions?
I have a question on the entrances to the schools, the egress that with the new doors, will that create any like interior like deconstruction that will have to also be done, like and how much?
So you saw Lammersville, which is pretty simple. Bethany will need to move some desks. We'll have to move a couple desks around and a counter slightly. It's gonna pivot. Cuesta, hardly any. It's because it's still the entry area. And what did I just do?
Wickland.
Thank you. Wickland, same, because that counter, when you enter, the counter will stay in place. It takes them right into the lobby when you do that window. We may have to do a little L, but pretty minor.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think that we've thought it through pretty well. Now just getting it done is the next part.
And I had a question on like when you in the past when you discussed the crossing guards, because this is a question I get from a lot of community members. Like, well, we at this school we had volunteer crossing guards. Why can't we just do volunteers? Was that discussed, or was there information talked about with that in that respect?
Yes.
Okay.
But who manages them? Who is best positioned?
This is a conversation that predates me.
Okay.
And it's been a commitment in the past that I believe one of the terms was that the juice isn't worth the squeeze, because the second you take over responsibility for the street, you're responsible when they're there and not there, if they do it well or they don't do it well. But then the question is when people jaywalk, are we responsible for policing that? If someone does a U-turn or a three-point turn in a wrong place, are we responsible for that? And then you start to look at taking over the responsibility of a street. I don't know if we have the expertise. This was explained to me when I came in, because I walked into this conversation. Is how much more can we do?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the response, because I get that question a lot. You know, like, well, in this district we've done this, and I didn't know, what had been discussed before I got on board.
This was discussed almost 8 years ago when I got on the board. The question came up, and I remember reading the information from the attorneys, which was, at the outset, a district is not responsible for the safety of the children on their way to and from schools. And so right now, with the status quo, there is no question about who is responsible for the safety of those children. Their parents are, at the end of the day. The district, if the district acts through a volunteer program or through employees to extend our responsibility, it becomes our responsibility. And unfortunately, I mean, everybody, I think everybody would say, hey, if you have a crossing guard there, it is safer for the children when the crossing guard is there. And everybody thinks, well, then we should do it, because that means if the crossing guard's only there 99% of the time, then the children are safer 99% of the time. And the problem is that if you extend your envelope of responsibility, you don't get to extend it 99% of the time. You extend it 100% of the time. And it's actually, you know, the way I look at it, if you have a crossing guards, the children, they cross with the crossing guard. The crossing guard is responsible for their safety, making sure that they don't step out in front of a vehicle, not them. So if one day the crossing guard is not there and they step out into the street, realize they've never practiced. If you have a crossing guard there every day, you've never practiced safely crossing the street. You're not used to that situation anymore. And when you're faced with it, the child steps out into the street. So the problem is that it's actually less safe for that child when the crossing guard isn't there than if the crossing guard was never there, because it's a completely new scenario. And there's all kinds of court cases in the state of California. There's one down in Southern California right now where the crossing guard was there at 7:45 or whatever the posted time was, and the school district made the breakfast earlier, the breakfast availability earlier, but they didn't change the time of the crossing guard was supposed to be there. So children are actually going to school before the crossing guard is supposed to be on duty. A child steps out in front of a car, gets injured, and the district is being sued and is arguably liable. Another situation, a teacher kept a student late beyond the time that a crossing guard, we post the times that crossing guards are going to be there. The teacher keeps the student late, releases them after the crossing guard is gone. The student proceeds to go home, steps out in front of a car, gets hit. The teacher and the district are sued. And if it was just a question of litigation liability, dollars, I might feel one way. But the thing is, if a child has never, if we post a crossing guard at such and such an intersection, and that means that that child always has a crossing guard there when they go to school and they go from school, they've never experienced that intersection without a crossing guard. And then one day, when the crossing guard is sick, crossing guard has a heart attack in their car and nobody knows, and that child experiences that crosswalk, that child is less safe than they would have been had they faced that intersection on their, like every single time without a crossing guard. Because children get used to what things are and they don't perceive the difference. So that is my number one fear.
Well, Trustee Clements, I appreciate you stating that, because I think that that's a complaint I hear a lot is you only care about not providing crossing guards because you're just worried about liability and you don't care about children's lives. And I think that you stated very well how that's not true, that we absolutely care about children's lives and we're trying to make the best decision, and it's not easy. I mean, in a perfect world, if there were lots of people, as staff, and we could guarantee 100%, we would do the maximum of anything that we could do. But like you said, we can't guarantee 100% of coverage, and children do get complacent. I mean, I see that already with, children driving motorized vehicles through crosswalks to school, and they get really complacent. And so I just think it's important that people realize that it's not, because that's a complaint I get, and I appreciate you stating that so well, because I think it's important that they know we do care about children's safety. We do care, and that's why the safety committee spent all the time they spent working with CSD, other professionals, to get the speed bumps, the lighting. Correct?
Absolutely. I'm like, if it was just a matter of legal liability, or litigation, it would be one thing. But I would be mortified if we looked at a child and every single time they crossed a crosswalk, you know, for years going to Wickland, first grade, second grade, third grade, that intersection, there's always a crossing guard. And then one day they approach that same intersection and there's not a crossing guard and they don't think anything about it. They step out into the street. I would feel like that was an issue, right?
I would like to discuss two things. The first part is I really like the idea from the safety committee that we're going to create those doors, right, apart from those iron gates. The reason because I really appreciate that. I have been asked a lot of questions while I've been doing door-to-door campaign and talking to people about the safety at these specific schools where I was told that people can just walk in, you know, as and when they want. So I really appreciate that we are thinking ahead of time. And, you know, for those who asked about it, here we have the answer and we are trying to do the right thing. The second thing is I would like to echo Trustee Olson's concern or complaint that she has heard. I have been hearing the same too. And I, you know, about the crossing guards, and Trustee Clemens, you did, you know, put it really well. And of course, I've heard, why can't parents volunteer as crossing guards? When that question is posted, and then I'm seeing on the LCAP 2, where there are just 2 parent volunteers at the moment, I would just, you know, request those who suggested that to become a parent volunteer first, and you know, then again, you did hear our discussion already, so we do care for our kids, and please do trust that we will do the right thing for them. Thank you.
I have a question about the signage that we've added at many of the sites, particularly at the newer sites though. How frequently or whose responsibility is it to sort of go through those areas periodically to make sure the trees as they grow are not blocking those signs?
So if I could clarify, we do not put in the signs on the street. That's CSD, and it's their responsibility to take care of the trees that are on the street side.
Okay.
We have added some signage at the request of safety committee at Bethany. We're going to change the exit and how people exit Bethany because there's been some problems. So we're going to add some signage on our side.
Okay.
So the reason I say this is because we're responsible for signage on our side of the street and controlling the signage in our schools. But from the sidewalk over, it's CSD.
Okay, so if there's an area where we see a tree that's growing and blocking a sign, then just let the CSD know. Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
To clarify, you said we're responsible for the signs on our side of the street. You meant we're responsible for the signs on our side of the sidewalk.
Yeah, did I say street? I apologize. Yes, on our side of the sidewalk. So the DG over, we're responsible. And our signs are generally in the parking lot. There's nothing out far.
And one other further point, which we haven't talked about, is I have spent a significant amount of time at County Board of Supervisor meetings related to the Hanson Road controversy, the Lammersville community advocating for the closure of the road, it being turned into a one-way road. I spoke at the County Board of Supervisors meeting at the last one I went to, advocating, you know, hey, whatever you guys do, don't screw up the front of the school. You're gonna need to keep in mind some of the issues. That was the big concern out there was speeding trucks, and it was kind of the Wild West out there. The mitigation efforts have moved forward, and they are moving that to a one-way road permanently. But I do want to know that the district was also represented in those decisions over multiple meetings.
actually, Hanson Road will be closed at 2:05. It won't be a one-way, it will be a full closure at the bridge over
Oh,
205.
That's
We'll have
news.
another bridge that goes nowhere.
And I would like to thank the superintendent and my fellow board members on behalf of the Lammersville community. They really appreciate the effort that was put forth for the safety measures that were fought for and won in that area as far as the traffic. So thank you.
That is our report.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from the board? Thank you. Thank you very much. Item 12, calendar. A, Wednesday, November 9th, Safety Committee meeting at 3:45 PM here in the District Office Boardroom. B, Tuesday, November 15th, Education Committee at 6:30 PM in the Professional Development Center. C, on Thursday, December 8th, the Facilities Committee meeting here in the District Office Boardroom at 6:30. D, on Wednesday, December 14th, the next regular governing board meeting here at 7 PM in the District Office Boardroom. And item E, Wednesday, December 21st, Wellness Committee meeting at 3:45 in the Professional Development Center. In a few minutes, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will be discussing the following. A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. B, consider approval of long-term leave of absence for one classified employee. C, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. D, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. E, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn to closed session.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Boulay. Student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. We are now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.